Hello, everyone. As everyone knows, my son got arrested for the scene he caused a couple of days ago. My mother stayed with me and my family while everyone else left to go home. I have fixed both windows that my son broke and have made sure to fix the door because he sort of damaged the hinges. It has been a rough few days and it has been hard on me. My daughters have visited their brother in jail for me, and they have told me that he looks like a total mess. The ex has told me that she would like to go see how he is doing, and I agreed to it. Yesterday, we went to visit him, and he did look terrible. I let his ex talk to him first for a few minutes while I talked to the officers in charge of his case. He was being charged with trespassing, drunken disorder, battery, damage to property, possession of illegal narcotics, and a few other charges. It was not fun hearing that your son was going to be locked up for a while. As I waited for the ex to finish talking, I thought a lot about what I would say to him, or if I should say anything at all. If I should even show myself to him. It was just very conflicting. When the ex came out, she looked very sad and heartbroken. I didn't ask what they spoke about because it was none of my business. I walked in, and he looked very angry to see me. I sat down and asked him how he was doing and if he was okay. We had a basic conversation, but it was going nowhere. I told him that I never wanted to see him locked up or be in this situation. I tried to explain how hurt I was, but he just asked me if I was going to get him out because it was nonsense and I don't deserve to be in here. I tried to be patient and let him talk, but all he was saying was arrogant, ignorant, and stupid. I explained to him that I was only here to see him one last time and that I wasn't going to lift a finger to help him. He got angry and started cussing at me. I told him that he chose this and that his actions had consequences. He started to blame me for his arrest, and I snapped at him. I told him that he could not live his pathetic life blaming his actions and choices on others, and that he needed to stop being a pathetic piece of shit. Even after I gave him a reality check and tried to show him humility, even after I tried to offer him help and support, he chose to continue being a terrible person. It got quiet after I snapped at him, and he apologized to me. He told me that he was sorry for what he did, but I told him that it was too late for him to apologize. He started to tear up, but I told him to stop with the poor victim play. He got angry at me and told me the same thing he told me the other time, that I never chose his side and that it was my fault. I told him that his grandpa was the same way, always blaming others for his shoot and taking out his feelings and failures onto the people he loves. I told him the same thing I told my father when he got locked away, that he was just a filthy animal who deserved to be locked up, that everyone in the family will forget that he exists, that everyone will move on and be happy without him. I will probably retire, his sisters will move out and on with their lives and have their own families, and his ex will move on from the horrible experience that he was. The world will continue to spin while he is here locked up. Everyone will move on with their lives. He just sat there quietly with tears running down his face. I felt terrible seeing him like that, but it is what it is. The last thing I told him was that he was officially disowned and that I would be getting a restraining order, that he was no longer my son and to forget about me and his family. He told me that I can go frick myself before I left. When we got home, I just went straight to the garage and continued to work on my car. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I'm guessing the pressure of the situation finally got to me. Now I'm just typing this as a sort of distraction. I will go to his hearing. I do not know how to feel. I know what I said to him was shitty, and it makes me sad to think that those might be the last words he will ever hear from me. I'm guessing that is what I wanted to ask, am I the idiot? Edit. Spelling. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. As a woman who experienced domestic violence, I wish to God the man who beat me and made me lose our son had a father like you. While people are mad you kicked him out by disowning him, you had the moment as a father to have a heart-to-heart with him, to show him how he was messing up, to try to be compassionate through tough love, and he still chose public violence. His actions are his own, but I wish I had you as a father-in-law when that happened to me. Your family and that girl needs you. I know this hurts, but I hope this secures generationally that domestic violence will not be tolerated. Comment 2. After having read your other posts over the last little while, I still say, not the idiot. Thank you for protecting your daughter-in-law, and thank you for not helping him get out of prison so he could continue to hurt her. Your son is in very serious need of professional help, and this way he might actually be forced to get it. As parents, we are supposed to love our children unconditionally. But as far as I'm concerned, there are 2 circumstances under which you are no longer obligated to consider them your child, and this is one of them. Now, for the update. Thank you for sticking around. The week following my son's arrest was, well, I'll just get into it, and I thought I had seen the worst of it. But life has a way of surprising you, especially when you think you've got it all figured out. My mother, who had been my rock through this storm, turned out to be the eye of the hurricane. It started with a phone call from my sister, who was in hysterics. She had found out that my mother had been secretly funneling money to my son's legal defense. Not just a few dollars here and there, but thousands, money that was supposed to be for her retirement. I was floored. The betrayal stung like a slap in the face. My own mother, going behind my back to support the very behavior we all agreed was tearing our family apart. I confronted her, and the argument that followed was ugly. Accusations flew, and old wounds were ripped open. She accused me of being too harsh, of not understanding the struggles my son was going through. I shot back, reminding her of the chaos he had caused, the pain he had inflicted on all of us. In the heat of the moment, I told her she was no longer welcome in my home. She left, tears in her eyes, and I felt a mix of anger and shame. But I wasn't going to let this lie. I took action. I reached out to my son's lawyer and made it clear that any funds from my mother were to be returned immediately. I may not have been able to control my mother's actions, but I could certainly put a stop to the consequences. The lawyer, caught off guard by my insistence, agreed to my demands. The next day, my sister called again. This time, she had news that made my head spin. My ex-wife, the one who had seemed so heartbroken after visiting our son, had been having an affair with my son's lawyer. The same lawyer who was now sitting on a pile of my mother's money. It was like a soap opera, but this was my life, and I was sick of being a character in it. I felt a cold rage settle in my chest. My ex-wife's betrayal was a blow, but it was also an opportunity. I hired a private investigator, and within days, I had enough evidence of their affair to discredit the lawyer. I took the information to the Bar Association, and the lawyer was promptly suspended pending an investigation. My son's case was reassigned to a public defender, and the exorbitant legal fees vanished along with the crooked lawyer. My mother's money was returned, and though our relationship was strained, she understood that my actions, however harsh, were to protect our family from further harm. The hearing for my son came and went. He was sentenced to time served and probation, a slap on the wrist compared to what could have been. I sat in the courtroom, a mix of relief and sorrow washing over me. I had fought to keep our family from falling apart, but at what cost? I went home that day and threw myself into fixing up the old car in the garage. It was a welcome distraction, a way to channel my frustration into something tangible. The engine roared to life under my hands, a small victory in a sea of battles. As I sit here typing this, the garage is quiet except for the ticking of the cooling engine. I'm not sure where we go from here. My son is free, but our family is fractured. I've done things I'm not proud of, said things that can't be taken back. But in the end, I did what I thought was necessary. I can only hope that with time, we can all find some peace. Thank you for reading. My niece wants to borrow my dress for her surprise wedding. But when she storms out of the family chat, I make sure she learns a lesson about gratitude and respect by helping her find a rental. Instead, thank you for all your comments. They gave me good advice and highlighted things I hadn't actually thought about. One suggestion was that I should answer back as soon as possible. That niece may take the silence as no news is good news and imagine that she has permission. I believe she would be the kind of person to post on Facebook, "Thank you, Auntie, for giving me your dress," without getting a response. So I texted her back a few hours after her initial text. Next recommendation was to hide the dress or suggest that my mom had already shown her the dress, so get it back. Luckily, my mom doesn't have the dress at her home. It's in my possession, and it isn't easily accessible. You'd have to know where it is to find it. Our home has cameras, but I don't think this niece is that determined. She's very much a "if it's hard work, I can't be bothered" kind of person. I called my daughter and had a conversation regarding what she would like me to do with the dress. She liked the idea of using pieces for her wedding, and maybe making keepsakes for any daughters-in-law that enter our lives. So that decision has been settled. The last recommendation was to ensure that all interested parties were kept in the loop and made aware of my decision so there is no miscommunication later down the line. So I copied my text response to niece and sent it to my brother and my niece's mother to ensure they all knew. I will tell my own mom when I've calmed down and feel like talking to her again. On to the text. No is a complete answer, but once again I feel that my mom needed to be called out for her part in all this. Our mother has a habit of volunteering her family's time and resources to make herself look good. There's a lot of resentment with us kids over this behavior. Hi, niece. Once again, congratulations on the engagement news. I'm so happy for you both. I do still have my dress, but I'm afraid that Nana misled you to believe my dress was available to be loaned out. My dress has great sentimental value to me, and daughter's name will be the only other person to have access to it. I'm sure when you contact Nana again, she'll be able to help you find an alternative dress. See you all at Easter. Choriers. She texted back immediately, "Okay, thanks anyway." I copied this message to my brother with a comment, "This is for you to deal with in case there is drama. Mom has been trying to play the hero with other people's things again." He hasn't responded yet, so that's it for now. I checked niece's Facebook page this morning, and there was no passive-aggressive memes or comments that I can see about family not supporting her or not being the favorite, and that's how she likes it. So hopefully this will blow over. Hopefully. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, thanks anyway. That's a mature response. I doubt there will be any drama. It's very uncommon to be gifted a wedding dress by your aunt if you have parents and your aunt has daughters. Comment 2. The lion, the witch, the audacity of that. Hopefully this will be more than enough evidence if your mother tries to pull another stunt like this. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around to hear the latest. So, after I thought the whole dress fiasco was settled, things took a turn. My brother finally texted back, and he wasn't happy. He accused me of being selfish and not supporting family. I couldn't believe it. After all the times I've helped them out, this is the thanks I get? I was fuming, but I kept my cool and reminded him of all the times our mom had volunteered our stuff without asking. I told him it wasn't about the dress, it was about respect. He didn't reply, and I thought that was the end of it. Then, out of nowhere, my niece announces her sudden departure from the family group chat. No explanation, nothing, just leaves. Everyone's texting, calling, trying to figure out what happened. It's chaos. And guess who's in the middle of it all? Yep, me. Turns out my niece had been planning a surprise wedding for Easter, hoping to wear the dress and reveal it then. Now, with no dress and her pride hurt, she's gone silent. My mom's calling me, crying, saying I've ruined everything. I'm getting blamed left and right, and I'm just about done with all of them. But here's where I got my sweet revenge. I remembered my niece's, "if it's hard work, I can't be bothered" attitude. So, I called her bluff. I reached out and offered to help her find a dress, knowing she'd likely refuse, and she did. She said she'd handle it herself. I knew she wouldn't, and I was right. A week later, she's back in the family chat, acting like nothing happened. She found a dress, a rental, and everyone's praising her for being so resourceful. But I know the truth, she didn't lift a finger. My mom found the dress and paid for it, just to save face. The aftermath? My brother apologized, saying he didn't know the full story. My mom's still trying to play the hero, but now everyone's a bit more wary of her generosity. And my niece? She's learned that she can't always get what she wants without a little effort. As for me, I'm just glad it's over. I've got my dress, my daughter's happy, and the family drama has died down. For now, at least. Thanks for reading. My wife promised to stop stalking her exes, but when I caught her red-handed, she begged for forgiveness, so I filed for divorce and took everything but the kitchen sink. Update. We've had open conversations without judgment, with a lot of understanding. It turns out she's been hiding a lot more than I realized. She's definitely been unfaithful, as she admitted. Anyway, I feel a mix of sadness and relief now that she's finally come clean. I'll eventually file for divorce and let her go once everything is sorted out. Thank you for your advice, I truly appreciate it. And to those who labeled me as jealous or controlling, Well, reality can be quite different from what you assume. I, 30 years old, have been married to F, 29 years old, and we have had issues where F, 29 years old, wants to keep checking on her exes to see if they are okay. I have expressed to her that I don't think this is healthy and it bothers me a lot. She promised me she would stop and even blocked everyone, and we continued with our lives. Recently, while I was traveling, I found out that she was trying to get in touch with her ex. She claims she just wanted to check in and see how he is doing. All of this happened behind my back, and if I hadn't found out and confronted her, she probably would have brushed it off. I feel lost. To me, this is cheating. I don't trust her anymore, and I am considering divorce. This situation is not healthy for our relationship, and I have expressed several times how her actions affect me. We have 2 small children together, and I am tired of constantly worrying about her reaching out to her exes. I told her I want a divorce, but she keeps saying it won't happen again, and we should try to work things out. However, I honestly don't want to. Even if we go to counseling, I'm exhausted. At this point, I just want the kids to be happy, and I'm willing to live with her for a while until we prepare the kids and our finances for the divorce, but not as a couple. Am I overreacting? Edit. This ex was not a relationship. They just hooked up several times because my ex was afraid of getting into a relationship with this guy. She has stated multiple times how nice he is, how wild the intimacy was, and she even talked about our relationship with him. I also have several exes, including an ex-fiancé and casual partners, but they are irrelevant to me. I don't understand people saying that I'm controlling. With 2 children who require a lot of care, how do you find time to look into these things? I took the children with me so she could rest up. I just don't get it. Edit 2. Firstly, I completely disagree that I'm controlling. I expressed how I felt, and she willingly said she would block them. I will never disregard my feelings. Prioritizing my own well-being and emotional health is most important to me right now. The kids are definitely mine. I don't care about the financial part, as money is not an issue. If she wants child support, alimony, whatever, she will have it. I care about my mental health and being well for my children. She is making her choices, and she is free to do so, but I don't want to be a part of this. I have enjoyed my life quite a bit. I have no time for these games. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I honestly don't understand the YTA judgments. The lying and going behind his back has destroyed his trust. She agreed not to do it and did it anyway. If there was something you were doing that made your partner unhappy, would you just pretend not to do it and hope not to get caught? NTA. Comment 2. NTA. What is to be done once the trust is gone? She's just sorry she got caught. People here saying YTA are insane. She lied and ignored a boundary you both discussed and she agreed to, and attempted to do so behind your back while you were traveling. Red flag sale. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around to hear more of this mess. So, after all that talk about honesty and understanding, things went sideways again. I thought we were on the same page, but I guess I was just fooling myself. She went behind my back once more, and this time it was with my so-called friend, Mike. I found out because Mike's wife called me crying, saying she caught them together. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could, but I didn't want to. I confronted her, and she tried to play it off like it was nothing, just a moment of weakness. But how many moments of weakness does one person get? I was done. I told her I was filing for divorce, no more chances. The kids would stay with me, and she could see them. But that was it. She cried, begged, but I was out of sympathy. The next day, I got a call from my lawyer. Turns out she had been planning to hit me with divorce papers first, asking for full custody and a hefty sum of money each month. She thought she could blindside me, take the kids, and leave me with nothing but an empty house and a broken heart. But I was one step ahead thanks to Mike's wife. I moved quickly, filed my papers, and made sure to include every detail of her infidelity. It was a low blow, but I had to protect myself and my kids. The court date was set, and it was going to be ugly. But then, the day before we were due in court, she came to me, all tears and apologies. She said she realized she had been wrong, that she didn't want to drag the kids through a nasty battle. She offered to settle. Joint custody, no alimony. I was suspicious, but my lawyer said it was a good deal, considering the circumstances. We signed the papers, and it was over. Just like that. I was free, but at what cost? My kids were going to grow up in a broken home, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I had failed them somehow. And then, as if I hadn't had enough, I got a call from my ex-fiancé. She heard about the divorce and wanted to catch up. I couldn't help but laugh. It was like the universe was playing some cruel joke on me. I told her I wasn't interested and hung up. I'm trying to focus on my kids now, making sure they're okay through all of this. They're my priority, and I'll do whatever it takes to give them a stable life. As for me, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I've learned my lesson. No more getting walked all over. I'm standing up for myself from now on. Thanks for listening. It's been a rough few days, but I'm getting through it. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!